So earlier today, I made a video about Jim Acosta and the wall, and the CNN story about wall reporting gets a lot worse. A huge scandal has erupted. Maybe not a huge scandal. The point is, a local news station in San Diego has come out saying that CNN contacted them, asking them to borrow, they wanted to borrow one of their reporters, normal thing they do, and have them report on the border wall in San Diego. One problem. The news station in San Diego recognizes that the border wall in San Diego works. And what did CNN do? Never mind. So here's the original tweet. Thursday morning, this is from KUSI News. Thursday morning, CNN called the KUSI newsroom asking if a reporter could give them a local view of the debate surrounding the border wall and government shutdown. After we informed them about our past reports, they declined to hear from us. So they actually have this story published on their website. Actual local reporters who live in San Diego. Now listen, CNN, they're in New York. They don't know what's going on at the southern border for the most part. Jim Acosta went down to McAllen, Texas, where there is a border barrier, and talked about how he didn't see any problems, because apparently he doesn't understand if you go to the wall and say, no problems here, you're just telling people the wall worked. Like, not completely. I'm just like, if there's no problems and there's a wall, you're drawing a correlation, which is going to make people think maybe it does work. Anyway, the point is, this story. CNN requests KUSI for local view on the border, declines a reporter after finding out wall works. They say, so they mentioned that Thursday morning, say, KUSI offered our own Dan Plant, who has reported dozens of times on the border, including one story from 2016 that was retweeted by former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and posted on drudgereport.com. The border fence tour is below. We believe CNN declined a report from KUSI because we informed them that most Border Patrol agents we have spoken to told us the barrier does in fact work. We have continuously been told by Border Patrol agents that the barrier along the southern border helps prevent illegal entries, drugs, and weapons from entering the United States, and the numbers prove it. And then CNN said no. I wonder why. Well, I think I know why, and you probably know why too, but let's see what CNN actually had to say about this, because they responded directly to the tweet. We called several local stations to book someone for a show. We didn't end up booking any of them. That happens many times every single day. We did, however, book a reporter from KUSI for a story on immigration and the border wall in November. This is a non-story. No, it's not a non-story. And CNN accusing another news agency of some kind of, impropriety is wrong. I think so. Should journalists be fighting each other in such a way? Well, the reality is CNN contacted them, asked them about a reporter. They said, here's a reporter. CNN said, no. Now, let's address a few things. CNN said, we didn't end up booking any of them. That happens that many times every single day. That doesn't prove anything. You know what that says to me? It says CNN goes fishing for stories that fit their narrative, and when they don't find it, they say, sure, whatever. Okay? Let's talk about real news. Real news would be CNN saying, we want to book someone for a show. What does bring the reporter on? And when the reporter comes on and tells you what happens, they go, interesting. Done. What does CNN do? They screen these people and then decide not to put any of them on. Seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Fox News has been accused of doing something similar in the past on numerous occasions. I'm not going to say it's unique to CNN. I'm going to point out I actually trust local news reporting to like a much higher degree than I would ever trust CNN. But it gets better, because Oliver Darcy wanted to chime in, and I had to chime in, to address the issue. So Oliver Darcy, I've met him before. He's interviewed me on some issues. So this is a professional thing. I have no personal issues with Oliver. I think his work is for the most part fine. But he said this: for people circulating the KUSI News video, here is what happened. Quoting CNN Communications. Didn't actually prove anything, okay? As I addressed, that statement, all it says is that CNN may be going fishing for narratives, and when they don't find someone that aligns with their television narrative, they don't do it, okay? And I have some evidence. But let's read on, because apparently Oliver Darcy followed up with also, for what it's worth, and some images. Well, we can see here that he circled the name of Mike McKinnon III. CNN requests KUSI for local view on the reporter, declines a report after finding out wall works, and here's the author. He then posts some other images, where we can see Mike McKinnon III retweeted something about crazy year at California DMV, another one from a guy wearing what looks like a Trump hat. CNN, we are real news, also CNN. And then it's the Trump witch hunt story. Then he shows that McKinnon has retweeted Donald Trump, and that he's retweeted Sarah Sanders, and he's got more. showing that Mike McKinnon has tweeted people, or Mike McKinnon tweeted out a thumbs up in response to CNN declining his report. Mike McKinnon retweeted Trump saying "Dear Diary" to Jim Acosta. And also at Molly saying this is worth watching and sharing it. Okay, I don't know what his point is, okay? What I can say is all he has done here is illustrate that this man, Mike McKinnon, who wrote the story, who works for KUSI, or as a contributor at least, may have different opinions to CNN and has retweeted Trump in the past. All that does is, in my opinion, lend credence to the idea that CNN called some local stations, and when they found out these people agreed with Trump's stance on the border wall, decided not to bring him on. It doesn't disprove anything. In fact, in my opinion, it just shows evidence to suggest Mike McKinnon's actually right. CNN doesn't like their opinions, and Oliver Darcy is highlighting these things as if what he's done is wrong. So, sure, CNN doesn't have to bring on someone who has an opinion they don't like, but to act like they're neutral, like bringer of facts, neutral arbiter of the truth is ridiculous. So that's what I said. I said, I mean, this also just provides evidence to their narrative too. You just pointed out the reporter may have a certain opinion CNN doesn't like. That was their point in the first place. Well, Oliver said that's not my point. Because I think what he's trying to say is that this guy is criticizing CNN right now over these issues. Sure, this reporter is mad because you axed that you didn't bring their guy on when you found out what he believed. So then he took a turn against you and saying, "Oh, look at CNN, they're fake news." And what's your point? It's not related here. But here's what I said. Because I watch CNN. Actually, I have CNN right now. I don't watch them as much as I used to. I've actually only recently started watching them a little bit. But my God, is it bad. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why. My response was, John Berman was just arguing against the wall this morning. I don't think you can have Berman say the things he said, then act like CNN would have actually considered running a Walls Work segment. It's especially annoying because Berman was using non sequitur arguments that are typical of far-left activists, and Brian Stelter just cited Media Matters for America as if it's an actual source. I'm not making that up. Brian Stelter did that. I don't have the tweet pulled up, but Stelter said something like, when he sees the interview with Trump and Hannity, it reminds him of a Media Matters article saying that Trump's wall show is for the Fox News audience. My response to that was, when Media Matters for America published fake news with dubious information, and I just criticized them saying, hey, for what it's worth, this story is not true, and here's why, the response I got was, you smell like farts. I believe that's a direct quote. I could be wrong, but it was basically, that's what, you smell like farts, was basically what I was told by the writer. And then I said, okay, you guys published some false information. It's verifiably false. I can prove it. And they said, I hope bird poop falls into your eyebrow. That was the response from Media Matters for America. When I went to Politicon and I saw the guy who runs Media Matters, whatever his name is, he talked about how he was real news and how they counter only the conservatives have fake news. I'm like, oh, please. So when I asked him, then why is it when you did publish fake news, I'm a journalist, by the way, among other things, and when I questioned this false narrative, I was told that I smelled like farts. And he said, I don't know anything about that, and he sounded off. And look, it's fair. He doesn't know anything about that. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if he did. But if Media Matters for America wants to hire those people who put out nonsense, then who is CNN to claim that they're somehow being like a neutral arbiter of facts when they literally cite Media Matters? This morning, it's John Berman and Alison Camerota. And I'll tell you why CNN is so bad. David Hogg comes on the show a couple days ago. And Alison Camerota says something about, like, what garbage college did you get invited to? Because she knew he was accepted into Harvard. And David goes, oh, well, I was invited into Harvard, but that's not the point. The point is X, Y, and Z. And then John Berman looks at her and goes, I see what you did there. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, what did I see? I saw Alison Camerota kissing up to David Hogg. Trying to get like, oh, but you're going to Harvard. Good for you. But what happens when a Republican came on this morning? John Berman argued against him, and it was a loud back and forth of people talking over each other. And I thought to myself, man, isn't it really interesting how CNN will openly argue and tell the Republicans how wrong they are, and then kiss up to David Hogg about him going to Harvard? Now, you may say, people on the left will say, well, Tim, that's because the Republicans are wrong. No. That's not the point I'm making. David Hogg, there was no reason to bring up why he was going to Harvard. There was no reason to make a point about how what garbage college did you get accepted to? Like to make a point so that he would go, it was actually Harvard. And they go, oh, that's not a garbage college at all. That's not a fact. That's not a debate. That's just kissing up to him. trying to make sure everyone knows how great, oh, success, great, good for you, David Hogg. Has nothing to do with the story, has nothing to do with gun control. She just wanted to push a narrative that promoted David Hogg. When it comes to the issue of arguing with the Republican, I can't remember which Republican it was, the other issue is that John Berman, as I mentioned, was using non sequitur arguments, okay? What was he doing? The classic, this is so hilarious. When they go, you claim to want to end violence from illegal immigrants, but studies show that illegal immigrants commit less violence than Americans. What does that have to do with anything? If someone said to me, hey, there's a guy who shows up once a week and he, throws beer cans on my lawn, I think we should put up a fence so that he can't come around to do that anymore. And then someone goes, but other people throw beer cans more. I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with me trying to stop that person specifically? Present me a real argument, CNN. The point I'm trying to make is, because I talked about that in a past video a couple times, I don't want to rehash it. The issue is that John Berman was trying to argue with a Republican, and he was using far-left talking points. These are arguments used by the left that have nothing to do with the issue of a wall. Yes, I get it. People in America commit more crime than illegal immigrants. That's not the point. If someone said, we want to end drug crime, we want to end illegal immigrant crime, and we want to end gang drug crime, those are different things and require different solutions. So when John Berman decides to argue with one of his guests using an argument that is pushed by far-left activists and has nothing to do with the issue, I have to wonder where he gets his news and what his ideology is. But look, don't get me wrong. You're allowed to have opinions. But don't act like you're neutral and it was just a matter of coincidence you didn't bring this reporter on when that morning you were arguing using left-wing activist talking points. CNN is so clearly biased. I mean, you've got to... CNN.com, admittedly, is not that bad. But CNN, is their anchors, their personalities are just awful. Don't get me wrong, CNN.com isn't perfect, right? But if you go to CNN.com, you'll find a bunch... they have opinions from conservatives in the op-ed section. It's very different, it is. And I think that's fair to point out. But again, my main issue here is for them to act like this is just a matter of circumstance, it has nothing to do with this narrative, but literally have activist talking points coming from your news anchors, please spare me. Okay. Anyway, I got more videos coming up in a few minutes, so stick around.